أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين بالقاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. All praise and glory belongs to Allah. May His blessings of the utmost mercy and love be showered upon those individuals whose hearts break in the musibah, in the hardship of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It is quite an honor to be able to have a broken heart in this month. It shows that the special mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon that person. You cannot have a broken heart in this month unless and until you have built a connection with Imam Hussain alayhi salam throughout the year. If throughout the year a person did not have a connection with him, it's quite difficult to be able to have a broken heart in these days. And one of the reasons why our hearts get hardened and they don't get softened is because throughout the year we have attached ourselves to those things that are temporary and only means for our existence in this world. The difference between a believer and a non-believer, if I was to put it, it is quite simple. A believer looks at this world as means towards one goal. Yesterday we mentioned to you that the life that we have been told to live is based on goals and achievements. If you were to live a life based on goals or achievements, the believer looks at the whole world and sees it as means to that one end, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And an unbeliever looks at this world as the end. It looks at the money as the end. It looks at the house as the end, the degree as the end, the phone, everything as the end. That is the reason why a believer's life is different than the unbeliever. If you were to start changing and thinking that everything that you have is not the end, it just means, your whole life is going to change 180 degrees. There will be very few things that would give you sorrow. There will be very few things that will give you sadness, depression. Right? And if you look around, they say that in America, I don't know about UK, but in America, if there are 10 people, 8 of them are depressed. And I believe the 2 are probably in denial. Because depression is a disease where a person would have to admit the fact that they do have lost interest in life due to that disease.
اللهم صل على محمد
So, and then among those people that are depressed, quite a few are actually teenagers. The young people. These young people have lost interest in life. When you're young, you have so many interests that it's hard to actually count. But these young people, they have no interest in life. Because the way the design is, everything that they look at, they tend to look at it and say, you know, what's the point of living if all of that you are doing and that internal, you know, pain does not go away with everything and anything that comes along? You know, you have something, you get it, you get bored, and then you want the other, and you get bored, and everything you try to seek happiness in, you don't get it. So if in our lives we have depression, stress, sorrow, sadness, it's because of the void that cannot be filled by anything in this world other than the faith and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once the heart is filled with the love and faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no sadness. There is no depression. You don't have to take antidepressants. You don't have to go seek for happiness. Happiness is in your heart. You live in happiness, peace and harmony. That life has pleasure living in it. You don't get suicidal. You don't need a psychiatrist. You don't need the material things to give you that false impression of achievement and happiness. And when you shape your religion that way, which I mentioned to you yesterday, there are a few speakers that do that, and the youth get quite attracted to them. When you shape religion that way, you are giving them a false hope that religion will give you happiness. When in reality, that religion is not going to give them the happiness or the peace of mind. On return, they're going to get more depressed. Because that was their last resort to find that happiness and peace, and you've taken that away from them. A believer's life is quite different. The only sorrow or sadness a believer has is that when they have disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only sadness. And when they get sad about that, they know, they have hope. They don't fall in hopelessness. They have hope that if they were to come and ask for forgiveness, the most merciful and kind God will forgive them. In every difficulty that they face, they know that God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is with them. And regardless of what the difficulty is, they're going to overpower it. And I've told you this before, the best example of that is in Karbala. Against all odds, thousands of soldiers armed to the teeth, here stood 70 to 110 individuals that believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were believers, true believers. They stood against all odds. They were not sad. They were not depressed. They had no fear. They spent their last night in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the mornings they had smiles on their face. Hazrat Habib had a smile on his face, and then a person asked, how can you have a smile on your face? He said, what could be better of a day where you're able to sacrifice yourself for the grandson of the Holy Prophet? What could be better? If there was sadness, there's one individual, Imam Hussain saw he was crying. Imam asked his companions, why are you crying? Everybody is going to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Prophet is going to give from the Hawd al-Kawthar, the drink that you will never be thirsty again. The companion said, Mawla, my master, I'm not saddened by this battlefield where I'm going to go and sacrifice myself. He said, I'm saddened because I'm going to go and there's going to be distance between me and you. Imam Hussain said to him that, don't worry, I'm coming behind you.
Yeah.
That companion of Imam Hussain had a smile on his face. His biggest worry was not the swords or the spears or the stones that were to be thrown at him. It was a separation from the Imam of the time. And when he realized that in this separation, even though he had the complete conviction that once he's martyred, he's going to be successful, he's going to be in front of the Holy Prophet, yet his love was so intense that he could not bear the fact that he was going to be separated from Imam Hussain. Even heaven in front of him was not enough of a motivator. His heaven, he was to leave here. The reason why he was sad is that his heaven was going to stay here while he was going to go away. But when his heaven said, I will meet you shortly, that companion had a smile on his face. If you want to find out, if I want to find out, if I'm a believer or you are a believer, look at your lives. I should look at my life. If in my life everything that I have is means, I am a believer. If it's not, I have no faith. It is that simple, and I'll be direct. If I think of my wife as the end, my children as the end, my house as the end, money as the end, the worth of being famous or being someone as the end, if I look at anything in my life as the end, I have no faith. Even the things that you might not consider, Quran is not the end. Quran is means. Your salah is not the end. It is means. We have made salah as our end. We did our 17 minutes. We did our 24 minutes in the day, and we're quite satisfied. Why? Because that salah is our end. That is what we needed to do. That is the goal. Salah is not the goal. Salah is means towards that place of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is that vehicle that takes you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has been narrated in the traditions that salah is qurban of a mu'min. Qurban is that vehicle that takes you to the place of qurb, of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We prayed our 24 minutes. It was the end, we were satisfied. But if it was means to us, we would have checked ourselves whether this salah has gotten us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we would not have been satisfied. We would not have been satisfied just with the 17 rakat that we do during the day. We would have said, no, we would do 51. No, we will do 100. We will do 1,000. I will put my head down as many times as it takes to actually feel the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will do that many sajdas that in one of them, if I feel the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then my sajda is there. Then my prostration has become means, and I've achieved that thing that I wanted. That is the feeling that He exists. We pray our salah, we don't feel He exists. We live our lives, we don't feel He exists. Someone who loves us more than our mother, 70 times. We live a whole time ever feeling His existence. Is that not a waste of a life? On the day of judgment, when we die, everybody is going to know Him. Everyone, as soon as you die. The task was to be able to fall in love with the most beautiful being in this whole universe. He is the giver of beauty to everyone. If Imam Hussain has any beauty, it's a reflection of the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Bibi Fatima Zahra Salaam is beautiful, it's because of the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Imam Ali alayhi salatu salam has courage, it is the courage and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he has the knowledge, it is the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is given to them, to their capacity, which normal, me and you, we can never reach that capacity. But after even given all of that, they still say, I am a slave, you are my master.
Allah. Subhan.
You think Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam, the title of Zainul Abidin, where all of the Abidin are there, and then when he enters, that whole room becomes beautified, was given to him without having a void of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It was that love that shone in front of all of these worshippers, and they saw that love shining, and they would say, you know, now our gathering has become beautiful because Imam Sajjad has entered.
Bro, Krishnudi and Maulai Imam Sajjad al-Islam Blantar Salawat.
Today, our youths have been directed towards the same thing, where they are making, you know, everything their end, when it is actually means. The azah of Imam Hussain Islam is means. It's not the end. The azah of Imam Hussain is a worship. Worship is means towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting is means. Imam Hussain Islam is means. It's the wasila towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is that guided, lighted, ship that you can come aboard towards that light and guidance. His means. I'm hitting on that point which is the root cause of all of our problems. This religion of ours that is on the tip of our tongues is not going to save us. And it has shown that it cannot save us. The condition that we are in, the situation that the Muslims are in right now, if that religion was to save them, they would not be on the lowest platform in the world today. It is the true religion. It is the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought on the face of this earth through the 124,000 prophets. It is that religion that is going to overpower all of the religions, until we realize that this religion is a way of life and not something to be practiced in the masjid or in the center and then leave it here. And even if we take it with us, it has to come it has to come behind us. This religion has to follow us where we go. No. You're supposed to follow the religion that you have. We write all of these questions to our marjas. As long as we keep on writing and twisting the questions until we get the answer that we are looking for. And we have this false hope that we are very religious, following the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, you are following your own lowly desires. You are manipulation of that religion which is pure that was brought. And as long as somebody comes along and manipulates and de-shapes this religion that can follow every single place where you go, then that person you accept. But if somebody comes and says, follow this religion, no matter what your lowly desires are, well, this person we can't follow. He's backward, he's this, he's that. Imam Hussein's azah has become end for us now. You know what is the criteria for our majlis? You get a speaker, and hopefully you get that speaker that can attract crowds. Of course they failed here because I'm not one of those. So from the beginning the majlis is like a failure. Right? So get a speaker that attracts the crowds. So there's the more people there are, the more people end up crying. The louder the matam is, our majlis is successful. Alhamdulillah, we have done our job. Duty end is done. We can go home and say that we have submitted to that path of Imam Hussein, and we are his azadar, we are his mourners. Aza of Imam Hussein is not as shallow as we have made it. The Aza of Imam Hussein is means by which if you have attended one majlis and you have not become hur, there is something wrong.
Very sure.
And we attend 10, we attend 2, we attend 3, we attend 4 a day. We still stand at the same place. Why? Because we never took this as the ship that can take us towards reverence and towards the love of Allah. We only took it as the end. So we've done it. We're done. A majority of us, on the 9th and the 10th, we will say, Al-Wida Ya Hussein, and then go home and bury him. On the 11th or the 12th, when the real hardships of Ahlul Bayt al-Amsam started, we will be at homes, and Bibi Zainab will be walking on her own. Azhar of Imam Hussain is means. It's a means that can get us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we make it the end, then we have our fights, we do all of the stuff that the youth look at, and they say, you know what, I don't want to go to this center. And I cannot find the intensity of the emotions that they have. They're devastated. Because all of their hopes were on their elders, on their parents. When they look at their elders and their parents, using that place which is supposed to be holy as a place for playing politics, running after the chair, fighting, having ego matches, and then even to the point, where their hands go on the necks of each other. When they desecrate the sanctity of that holy place by swearing inside of that holy place. And then the parents and the elders and the community is surprised that our youth don't show up, that they're going astray. We cannot be satisfied on making Azhar of Imam Hussain as our end. It is means. Quran is means. Just read 10 ayats or 50 ayats and say that I've done my job. No, 10 ayats should change you. One verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should change you. If it's not changing you, something is wrong. A Bedouin came to the Holy Prophet and said, I have heard that there is a Prophet, and the companions, where is that Prophet? The Prophet was shown, he met the Prophet, he said that, I want to know something about Islam, and the Holy Prophet recited one verse that says that if you have done an atom worth of evil, you'll see it. If you've done an atom worth of good, you won't see it. He listens to that verse and starts going back. And the companions said, look, a Bedouin came and a Bedouin going. And they insulted him. And the Holy Prophet said, don't say that. He might have been a Bedouin coming in, but he's going as a faqih. Wow. He's going back as a learned person. Someone who has deep understanding. Faqih is that person who has deep understanding of Islam, understands the circumstances and situations and the conditions of Islam. The Holy Prophet said he's going as a faqih. One verse. One verse. What about us? We recited the whole Surah Yasin here. Actually, the tape recited it. I don't know, the amount of iPhones that get the sawab for reciting Quran, if me and you get half of it or a little bit of it, we would be somewhere else. YouTube as well. I don't know. I'm just saying. Now, brothers, if this continues, we're looking at very dark days in front of us. We need to stop. All of this was just to make you realize nothing else to make me realize. The solution is there. I would say to the husbands, when you go home and you look at your wife, don't look at her as an end, your goal, your achievement. Look at her as means towards going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sure.
My sisters that are there, when you look at your husband, don't look at him as a husband. Look at him as means that can get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason marriage was there and the reason why half of the faith is complete is before you were fighting with your lowly desires alone, you were fighting with shaitan alone. Now you have a partner can fight together with your lowly desires and with shaitan. That's how you complete your faith. If the husband is asleep, Fajr time is there, the wife is on guard. The wife is on guard. But I want to protect this partner of mine from the flames of the hellfire. I will stay on guard, protect him from shaitan. I will wake him up. But one day, the husband is on guard. If the wife starts talking bad about someone else, the husband stands and says, don't do that. What you're doing is a greater sin and we are not going to have that. Destroy the environment and air and the spirituality of this sanctity, which is going to become a place where the friends and the followers of the Imam of the time are going to be raised. That in every step they will help each other. When you go to your work, stop looking at it as your end. Look at it as means. It's nothing else. Your title does not give you your worth. I'm the VP of such and such. I'm the director of such and such. That does not determine your worth. Your worth is determined by your actions and how close you are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is your worth. You determine it. No one else. If you're looking for your worth from something else, you will always be unhappy. And nothing else can determine your worth other than you. Imam says, do not sell yourself shorter than your worth. Your worth is heaven. If you want to know what your worth is, it's heaven. Don't sell yourself shorter. When you go to your uni, look at your books. This is not the end. Your exam is not the end. It just means. When you sit down in your car, it could be a BMW, it could be a Porsche, it could be a Bugatti, it doesn't matter. Just because it has the symbol of a Bugatti, is it worth something? No. Is it worth something? About $2 million, about 1.5, 80,000, 90,000 pounds. Is that worth something? Is it worth heaven? Huh? It could be worth hell. It's not worth anything. It means the little car broken up, rusted, the transmission moving a little bit, can also get me from, Luton to Watford, maybe 5 minutes late. Because even if you have a Bugatti, you can't drive more than the speed limit. And if there's traffic, what are you going to do? And that same Bugatti is going to get me here. It just means. Why does it become the end is because of you and I. We make it our end. We make it that this is the worth of mine. That when somebody sees me in a Bugatti, they're going to say, wow, this person must be rich. This person must be intelligent. This person, must be educated. This person should be that. And how many times Maybe the person's worth is not even $1 or a penny or a pound. Because what is your worth? Your worth is your character. The beauty of the character of Hazrat Habib, put a money dollar value to it. Come on. The beauty of the character of Hazrat Abu Zar, put some money. See, you can bring all of the dollars and pounds in the world, and you would not get an iota from the character of Hazrat Abu Zar. Right? I'll give you the definition of what that world is. I might have given it to you last year, but you know, you come, you listen, you get motivated to the point I'm here, then when I leave, that motivation leaves with me. Right? There might be some people saying, they are going to, you know what, I'm going to make sure that my fajr is done in the morning. I'm going to make sure that I go and now start looking at everything as means and everything, and then, you know, we go through the masayib, and of course you don't like, you know, it's very small, and you cry a little bit, and then after I leave, it's like, you know, done. Where did that motivation go? Because the next day Fajr comes and I'm still sleeping. But at least since we have these blessings right now, the world that has been cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by prophets, by imams, is not what your eyes can see. With me? If you recite a salawat and so you can come back to me. Anything that your eyes can see is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With me? And if you understand this concept, you would not need those speakers that tell you to have Islam follow your lowly desires. Okay, if you understand this concept. There's no point in pointing out a problem and not giving the solution. Everything your eyes can see is not the world that has been cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the prophets and imams. Everything your eyes can see is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With me? Yes? Yes. So you can see me? Yeah? I'm a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can see yourself in the mirror. You are a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The carpet is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The TV is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All that is written around walls, this, everything that you can see is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? When you look at money, it is also a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do have some money. I could give you a visual because I've already told you that we are very visual beings. I changed a few pounds when I came over. Right? So it's actually, you can see this, right? Yes? So this that you see is actually a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With me? That emotion that came in your heart is the world that has been cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the prophets. That attachment that we have does not exist outside. That love for this does not exist outside. It's just paper. It's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can see it. That attachment exists inside, and I have created it, and these eyes cannot see. You cannot see jealousy. You can see the effects of it. Where does jealousy exist? In this world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created? No. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created is beautiful. It is the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is ugly about hasad, about jealousy, about arrogance, about backbiting, about, you know, all of that, about lying, is my creation. I created it. I made that world, in which Imam says that if you want to see it in the physical world, it is like an old woman with leprosy, where her skin is falling off, holding the intestines of a pig. If you want to see the love of this world in the physical form, Imam says this is what it is. Would anybody would be attracted to it? He says that if you want to see the love of this world, or that world that is cursed, it is the sneeze of a goat. Would anybody be attracted? The PS4 you look at is not, that cursed world. It's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that attachment of yours to play 6 to 8 hours and disobey your parents and get angry at them and then shaping your character with the character of that game, you did it. You did it. Now he says that the Holy Prophet as well, Imam Masumeen have said about the same things on the same topic. They said, don't curse the world. The world is the place where the Anbiya came. The world is the place where Quran was revealed. The world is the place where people earn their heaven, their places in heaven. They say if you want to curse someone, curse yourself. Because you're the one who took these means, made them as the end, and brought that love and attachment inside of your heart. That love, that world is cursed. Yeah? You can live your life as long as everything that you look at, you understand is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that what is going inside of jealousy, arrogance, backbiting, lying, being lazy, that in there is the cursed world. And you and I created it. When we look at Karbala, the companions of Imam Hussain, the family of Imam Hussain, for them, the world was just means. It was a passing place. The sacrifice was a means to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The two children that Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil had, very young children, not baligh, Muhammad and Ibrahim, may the peace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon them. I'm amazed. I see them as my masters. The young kids, but I see them as my masters. If I can become a slave of theirs, I would achieve heights. They're children. They are in the prison. Salah is not wajib on them. The person who's the guard of the prison comes with food and sees Hazrat Muhammad and Hazrat Ibrahim, these little kids, praying Salah. And the guard is amazed. He said, in the prison. These are not people who are, where prayer is wajib on them. They're not 60, 70-year-old that have seen the world. They're little flowers, young flowers, imprisoned unjustly, where the father was martyred, brutally thrown from a building, whose teeth were broken. It's little children. They've gone through an atrocity. Would they not have questions towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why us? What did our father do? He came as a representative of Imam Hussein. Your representative, he came out of love and sincerity. And he was brutally martyred, killed, and we have become orphans. What did we do? What is our crime? By the same people who claim themselves to be Muslims, by the same people who had given allegiance to our Master Hussein. No faith, no complaints, reading their salah. And the guard saw and said, "Who are you?" And they told them who they were. The guy was amazed. He said, "I will leave the door, you can go." In the middle of the night, these two children, they get out of the prison. They try to get out of the city, but the city is blocked. What to do? They are in a city, no one is going to help them. Huh? No one's going to help them. Same people, they're killed. Their father would help them. They're fugitives. They hide. They're found. They're brought to the house. And they're found again. And they're brought to the river. The sword is there in front of an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. A man standing with the darkest and the hardest of hearts, who wants money to show the heads of an 8-year-old, 11-year-old, to show proof that he has killed those children so he can get money. Yeah. If any of my brothers are 8 or 11, or if you have children that are 8 or 11, can you imagine the scene? He was thinking they're going to ask, they're going to beg for their lives. When they started to cry, they said, maybe they're going to beg for their lives. We're not crying for that. We're just crying, our master doesn't know this has happened. What to do? So if you're going to kill us for sure, give us enough time, we can read our prayer. Allahu Akbar. Allah. In front of a sword. My masters, an 8 and 11-year-old children, they know the sanctity of prayer. They are in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a young age. When they know this is certain death, their last moments they want to spend in prayer. Would I be, when I am to the brink of that door of death, would I be in that faith after living a whole life? And here's the saddest part. The sword moves, and the neck of one of the brothers is severed in front of the eyes of the other brother. What would have been the heart of that brother? You try to picture it. You could? You can't. You can't. If in front of your eyes your brother falls, if in front of your eyes something happens to your brother, what happens to your heart? You find out that he's ill, he's far away, what happens to your heart? You find out that he's in difficulty, what happens to your heart? Here is his little children in front of the eyes. The head is severed. Wallah, through the means of these children, through your special mercy, for my little brothers, give them that conviction. To the means of those children, give my elders that conviction. To the means of those little children, give our ulama that conviction. Give me that conviction. Give me that little bit of faith from them, so that when I face that last days of mine, that I leave this world in the same faith as these children did.